What up, though, people? Thank you for pushing play on the Lions Roar vlog. We are on chapter 70 of the books of Adam and Eve. We're on book one. We will be done with book one very shortly. And then book two is not that long. And then we're going back up to Genesis to finish up Genesis. And we're going to keep moving through the Bible at that point. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. That's it. Let's go. After this, Satan, the hater of all good, took the form of an angel, and with him two others, so that they looked like the three angels who had brought to Adam gold, incense, and myrrh. They passed before Adam and Eve while they were under the tree, and greeted Adam and Eve with fair words that were full of guile, very, very trickery type, manipulative, lying type of just deceptive energy. But when Adam and Eve saw their comely men and heard their sweet speech, meaning how they looked, and their sweet speech and their demeanor and whatever like that, Adam rose, welcomed them, and brought them to Eve, and they remained all together. Adam's heart, the while, being glad because he thought concerning them that they were the same angels who had brought him gold, incense, and myrrh. But we see that this is a trick again. But let's see what happens. Has Adam learned how to start to pay attention to these beings when they start doing their extra? Because that's one of the keys to getting through life as a human. And you start realizing that you got things going on around you that you need to pay attention to that's holding you low. You really got to start seeing that. Or are you just going to keep letting those same things keep being the thing that just over and over and over again drag you to hell? What is it going to be? Right? So let's see what Adam does. Does he choose to respond and follow that darkened one yet again? Or does he finally start understanding, like, wait a minute, the Most High said ABC 1, 2, 3, and you over here saying something totally opposite than this, and I got to check in over here. I'm about to go to this source before I move on what you talking about, because I'm not sure. I'm confused. Early human, right? But have Adam learned that? I don't know. Let's see. But when Adam and Eve saw we already read that, the sweet speech, Adam rose, welcomed them, and brought them to Eve, and they remained all together. I already read that. I'm sorry. Because he thought it was the same angels, right? Okay. So because when they came to Adam the first time, there came upon him from them peace and joy through their bringing him good tokens. There was comfort, right? So Adam, the first man, thought that they were come a second time to give him other tokens for him to rejoice with. For he did not know it was Satan. Therefore did he receive them with joy and accompanied them. Okay, so like he being tricked again. Let's see what happens. Then Satan, the tallest of them, that's very interesting there, said, or you can also look at that as being the highest of them, as far as the darkest one. So meaning he's the leader of them. He's ahead. He's ahead of them. And that imagery, meaning he's the leader of them. Okay. Said, rejoice, O Adam, and be glad. Look, God has sent us here to tell thee something. And Adam said, what is it? Then Satan answered, it is a light thing, yet it is a word of God. Wilt thou hear it from us and do it? But if thou hearest us not, we will return to God and tell him that thou would not receive his word. And like trying to trick him, like just every angle, just try and get him caught up so that that dark one could have what he want. And Satan said again to Adam, fear not, neither let a trembling come upon thee. Does not thou know us? But Adam said, I don't know you. I don't know who you is. Adam starting to get smarter. This is the first time that we seeing that he says, I don't know who you are. Why? Because, well, by now I'm starting to realize when the Most High send his around, they come different. You always come trying to deceive, figure out, manipulate, sneaking, slithering like a little snake. Can't trust you. We know better. I'm figuring it out now. I don't know who you is, bro. So I'm going to stop you right here now, let you talk. Then Satan said to him, I am the angel who brought thee gold and took it to the cave. This other one is he who brought thee incense, and that third one over there is he who brought thee myrrh. And when thou wast on top of the mountain, and you carried that to the cave, all those things, oh yeah, that was us. But as to the other angels, our fellows who bear you to the cave, God has not sent them with us this time. For he said to us that you suffice. He didn't send us. Oh, he told us that we would be okay to come to you, Adam. Oh, just receive us. So when Adam heard these words, he believed them. Oh God, here go Adam again. I just knew. So when Adam heard these words, he believed them and said to these angels, speak the word of Yahweh, speak the word of the Most High that I may receive it. So he got tricked again. Dang, thought he had it right there. And Satan said unto him, swear and promise me that you will receive it. And Adam said, I know not how to swear and promise. He didn't understand. He's like, what do you mean? And Satan said to him, hold out thy hand and put it inside my hand. And Adam held out his hand and put it into Satan's hand. When Satan said unto him, say now, so true as God is living, rational and speaking, who raised the heavens and the space and established the earth upon the waters, and have created me out of the four elements and out of the dust of the earth, I will not break my promise nor renounce my word. And Adam swore thus. Then Satan said to him, look, it is now some time since thou came out of the garden, and thou knowest neither wickedness nor evil. But now God says to thee, to take Eve, who came out of thy side, and to wed her, that she bear thee children, to comfort thee, and to drive from thee trouble and sorrow. Now this thing is not difficult, neither is there any scandal in it to thee. And that is the end of that chapter. Holy smokes. Excuse my phrase right there for those people who could like get a little ruffled about different words. He say like holy and smoke together because he said holy smokes. Listen, man, that's deep right there. That is deep. Why is he trying to get them to hurry up and have a kid for? Well, like I said in the beginning of the books of Adam and Eve, just like hypothetically talking, just to have a little fun sometime, open up a little dialogue. Because I'm not trying to create no new doctrine. But one of my theories always was that Satan, Lucifer, that dark one, whatever being that they were, because remember what I said, you kind of got to look at evolution on a certain level. Evolution ain't God, but I'm just saying, if they were in it, like what I said in the video when I was talking about it, you're just gonna have to follow and go back and listen to all these videos, and everything will become clear to you. If they were in a different state, like I've said before, because we know per science that the humans had, science says that the humans came out of the water with everything else. I believe that. Even the scriptures even hints at that. And it doesn't change like Yahweh or Yahshua or like what we're worshiping. It just helps us understand a little bit better of like the process. Like, were the humans just like, was it a snap and then boom, humans walking upright, Homo erectus? We're just going to ignore all this information that we have? Because the Most High wants us to take the information and decipher it and figure it out and teach it and be smart. That's of God. To be wise and intelligent is of a God. To be dumb and ignorant is not of God. I'm just saying. So if they were in a different state, like what I always said, I feel like they were in the state of like what the nervous system, the brain, the spinal bundles, the nerves, like that makes up the real body. But remember that the eyes are part of the brain, right? So like if you take that and lift the nervous system out with the brain, with the eyes, and like the tentacles that make the nerves and everything, that could live in water without this type of a body. Sure can. Yep, it absolutely can. Science proves it can. In fact, to prove my point, every human is born here, comes here through what? Water. Oops, don't she say, I think my water broke. You're in water. For the first 9 months that you're here, you develop the body that you need to interact here, but you're in water first. You think that's not mimicking the beginning? We're just hypothetically talking right here. So if they were in a different state, like I've said in this earlier up in Adam and Eve, and they were swimming in the water and things, and let's just say perhaps that it's not as literal as like Eve and Satan having a conversation, and then Eve going walking through the garden. Hey Adam, he showed me this. Oh really? Oh yeah, cool. And then now we're going over here. No, it could literally have been a thing of that. It's given to us in that way. Maybe because the people who translated it didn't want you to understand certain things, right? Like maybe perhaps it was because you have these situations where, you have people that just don't want to deal with the truth of certain things because it makes them uncomfortable because of what they've gotten taught. Whatever the case, let's just say if they were swimming along and that higher being was already around. We know this is written. So that higher one was already around. It already knows certain appendages and what certain parts of the tentacles would do. It already possibly knows how to reproduce in that state. So, or it knows how to possibly even write itself onto another being. Similar, like parasitical. Do you understand? There are beings on the planet right now, insects, fishing, swimming things. There are beings on the planet right now that if they take over another being, they become the host of that being. You have parasites that can nestle in a fish's mouth, eat the tongue, would adapt and grow into the fish, and it becomes a symbiotic relationship, and then it's part of the fish, and everything the fish eats, that parasite eats it, and the fish eventually dies because it's not digesting, the parasite is. That happens. That's like, and we can go down the list. We could sit here and talk for 2-3 hours on the animals that could do that on the planet. So what makes us think that back then, during that time, one of them beings couldn't do the same thing? Why was he trying to get them to have a baby so much? What was the deal there? He wanted, first, let's just say, we could say he probably wanted more to trick, because you can trick a child easier because kids don't be knowing. That's why we have to train them properly in the proper way. And whether they like it or not, if you know better, it don't matter about what that kid feel at that point. When you tell that kid, hey, that fire that's on that stove, or that water that's on that stove, is hot. Don't pull it down. It's fire on the water. It's hot. You don't mess with that handle out there. Don't mess with this. You will hurt yourself. They don't want to listen. They think it's cool. They interested in how the handle looks. It's shiny. It's nice. I just want to do whatever. They pull up and they pull water down on their body and burn themselves. It happens because I worked at a hospital where I used to stock their nursing units and IV waters and all this different stuff. And when I worked at Children's Hospital, I had to do the burn unit. I used to want to go in there as early as possible because I didn't want to have to deal with anyone being in there. And that place always smelled like singed flesh, even when no one was in there. And one particular morning I'm in there, and it's early, like 4 a.m. One particular morning I'm in there, and they're doing the skin graft on the kid. And that kid is in there yelling I ain't never heard no kid yell like that before. And at a certain point, while I'm stocking this unit, one of the nurses leaves out and to take a break and comes in the room where I'm at. She doesn't expect me to be there. And when she leaves out, I catch a look of this kid. And man, I felt so bad for that kid. A tear came down my face. And she told me, I said, man, what happened? I said, what happened in there? That is a lot, man. She says, yeah, he pulled boiling water down over his body, and 80 something percent of his body burned. And they're doing skin grafts to try to get everything together. And she literally told me they have to scrape that because they put the cooling gauze stuff on it. And every day they have to go and scrape it and remove it so that it doesn't grow into the skin. And that kid has to deal with the pain of that every single day until it starts to heal better. So not only did he go through the initial pain of being burned, and when you burn like that, you feel like you're still burning. And they say that junk happens for a long time. You could still be having phantom. You could wake up one day and just be feeling like you burning, yelling. So don't touch that. Don't touch that handle on that stove, yo. That's for the human here today. These humans don't know how to not touch the handle. They always pulling hot, boiling hot water on themselves, being ignorant. Just like Eve and just like Adam. But the Most High said, well, I'm going to give you a path to get back to redemption. But you're not getting back up in Eden. But right here, we're talking about how Lucifer wants to try to hurry up and get them to wed. Now, this is very interesting because marriage, wedding, we're seeing these words as it relates to intimacy. That's very interesting because I've always maintained to people like, when is the Most High going to see the marriage? Is he going to see it because of the license from America or whatever country you live in? Is that the reason why? Oh, under God. Oh, because they want to be God. So is he acknowledging that, or does he acknowledge the intimacy of when the man and the woman become one and then the spirit sees it? I believe that. I've always maintained that. So this is very interesting that when we deal with this, what we're reading here, when we hear wedding, marriage, anything like that, it's dealing with physical intimacy, if you will. So, but again, like what I was saying, and let me hurry up and then I need to end this video. If they're in a different state, when the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, perhaps not a physical tree, just like a number tree isn't a physical tree. Once you're dealing with math, a word tree is not a physical tree. Do you understand? A learning tree is not a physical tree. Do you understand? So what if the tree of the wisdom of knowledge of good and evil is that this being knew something that they didn't know, just like a kid that don't know no better? Right? That kid that pulls that boiling water down on himself after he get told, hey, don't mess with this handle. You gonna get something you don't want. And they so, oh, it's nice though, I want to touch it. Psst. And you be that kid who's getting the skin graft for the next 2 years. Every day your skin's getting, you put yourself through all sorts of pain and turmoil for no reason, just to do whatever it is that you want to do. So when Eve decides to listen to him, like, hey, Eve, let me show you. He said you could do this, that, and the third, but let me show you this. And then he shows her something about themselves, and maybe he brushes up again. He takes one of the tentacles and they connect, and then like y'all seen the movie Avatar with the blue people when like the little things, and it's like the little tentacles connect up like with their hair, and that's how they was making connections with things, right? You see what I'm saying? So what happens, like maybe they make a connection and then boom, there's something in Eve now that can't necessarily manifest until she gets to the place where eventually there's more posterity coming, children coming from them, the future. He knew that was probably going to happen. So what is he waiting for? Hey, hurry up and have some kids. Why? So I can hurry up and trick and manipulate and have more access to be able to trick and manipulate, because them ones who coming up out of you, what I know because of what I showed you, they're going to be more likely to believe me. And remember, I want to be the highest one. I want to be the highest one. But that was Satan's thing. That was Lucifer's thing. That was the dark one's thing. That was El Shaitan's thing. Remember, that was the devil's thing. I want to be the one you want to come listening to. You ain't got to listen over there. No, come over here and listen to me. And he want that so much to the point to where he's going to do anything to try to do that. Why? To try to destroy them, because he hates them, because he knows that eventually they're higher than them and were created to be higher than them. That's what he knows. And why we could say that, because, well, the Quran says that. Not to, this is a source where I deal with biblical sources, so I'm not trying to be like blasphemous or disrespectful or anything like that. But please understand, I read. I love reading. The Quran talks about that, how there was a certain point where, like, the humans, the Most High told these beings, hey, you need to give a bow of reverence to this creation that we did. And even the Most High himself said, it's great not to give his power to them. It was Lucifer and his host that didn't want to do it because it's bowed to them for what? So I'm higher than them. Then he finds out, well, nah, they have opportunity to be able to be up here with us at some point. They're new though, so they're gonna have to learn just like everybody else did, right? That's why it was so easy to trick them, because they were new and he knew that. That's why he got what he got. Like, bro, you ain't getting back to grace, and you better be glad that I got full love and I don't destroy you now, but you definitely ain't getting back up in the higher levels at all for what you did. And I'm going to prove to you that my creation, what I put in them, there's going to be ones who still love me regardless to what you do. Here's it, Job, Yahshua, David. Do you understand what I'm saying? Down the list. And you got them other ones who like Jezebel, Judas Iscariot, the ones who just never do the right thing. They know the right thing, but they don't never do it, and they just end up flushed. So this was a good chapter right here, and I just find it very interesting. Why is he trying to hurry up and get her to be pregnant? I think he's waiting for something to come out of her that he knew would happen. Maybe one of his spawns, because perhaps it couldn't happen in that state, but it was enough of DNA in him to where when a kid does come, that DNA could attach to that kid, and he's waiting for certain energy or certain things to be able to fully manipulate. Say, hey, look, and that one is gonna be like, oh yeah, oh, they gonna think it's like the best thing since sliced bread and butter. Not even and dare they do any sort of petitioning to the Most High and asking what anything means. They ain't gonna be trying to do that. Adam is barely doing that. All right, that's it. If this information resonates with you, share it with someone. Hit that subscription button if you haven't. Hit the notification bell so you can keep up. I'm telling you, we're gonna keep this thing moving. I'm dedicated to what I'm doing here. That's it, man. Y'all be blessed. Peace.